Whitman-Walker afforded me the ability and the tools to build a life beyond my wildest dreams.
WWAS is the Whitman-Walker Addiction Services programming addressing substance use, whether that's someone who wants to stop using altogether, maybe join an abstinence-based program, or for folks who are really just trying to understand their relationship to their substance use.
There's always been an unproportionately high use or misuse of alcohol and drugs within the community. And so many of our clients, when they went to other treatment programs, the people at those programs were not really aware or educated about things like methamphetamine use, GHB, ketamine, ecstasy. We were. And that made us unique, and it meant that we were able to address the direct needs of the clients.
In the early 1990s, 94 actually, so mid-90s, I had stumbled into a 12-step meeting. And by stumbled, I mean actually stumbled a little drunk. After a few of those meetings, someone mentioned that maybe I ought to look into going to WWAS. I walked into Whitman-Walker and she said, "I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is you're definitely an alcoholic." And I was like, "Oh my God," breaking down. She goes, "And the good news is we can help." I was 26. I was jobless, so I had no money and no insurance. So how in God's name am I going to be able to start this program? And she looked at me and said, "You're going to start tonight. I'm going to go make you a sandwich and you're going to sit right here in my office." I sat right there. She brought me a sandwich. And that moment is really what kicked off the rest of my life, really.
Last year, we had over 400 people engaged in services with WWAS. This particular program is really significant to the mission of Whitman-Walker because it focuses on marginalized groups. So we have some specialized care and we have specialized curriculum, and we really understand the things that the folks in community are going through. We're able to provide really more culturally competent care.
SHARE is actually a partnership between Whitman-Walker and Johns Hopkins University, about 170 participants. And it is an incredible study that's been going on for a long time with incredible staff members and wonderful participants.
I think our participants are very deeply invested in the study. We're one of the longest cohorts on HIV and aging in the country.
Looking at a wide variety of questions related to HIV. And health outcomes. Now we are in the wonderful position of looking at HIV and aging. What does aging with HIV look like? And what is the impact of HIV on a huge range of health-related outcomes?
It's really cool that it's no longer just, how do we stop HIV, but how do we help people age with it? Speaking with some of the participants who lived through the height of the HIV and AIDS epidemic back in the 80s and 90s, and hearing about their experiences, I still feel that almost 30 years later, talking to them in these study rooms. It really helps contextualize the work that we're doing and shows just how important it is, how to make things better for others in the community.
One can live well and have a full life with HIV. What really stands out to me about Whitman-Walker and their legacy is that while they are located in DC, they really do have a national influence when it comes to LGBTQ folks and their healthcare in particular.
We've been able to turn to Whitman-Walker to help us shape messaging, to help us shape strategy and tactics, to connect us with what's happening all across the country, and to help us forge new partnerships.
Whitman-Walker Institute is the home for research, policy, and education to represent not just the work that we do here in Washington, D.C. with our patients and communities, but the needs of our community members nationwide.
My clinical work is primarily in providing essential health care to transgender and gender diverse young people. Whitman-Walker makes it easier for people like me in Minnesota to have access to the information that I need to help take care of my patients all the way, here in Minnesota.
One of the most important messages from Florida that not only are we resisting and fighting back, but we're actually winning and turning the tide. Whitman-Walker has been an ally through that whole journey.
I trust that the arc of history bends toward progress and that we are on our way there, even if it's a slog getting through it right now.
Our goal is really to meet people where they are, help them meet their goals, use as safe as possible, and to just really thrive.
It's been really cool to be a part of an organization that really focuses on LGBT health, proliferation of research, and policy and advocacy for people who sometimes aren't able to advocate on their behalf.
It's not about how you fall, it's really about how you get back up. So come on, how can I help you get back up? Because that's what's most important.
Whitman-Walker has this very rich history of organizing in circumstances of great adversity, but also being nimble enough that when the path opens, we're not on defense, we can be on offense to seize those possibilities.
I see Whitman-Walker as really an incredibly strong advocate for our community, being the LGBTQ community and particularly our healthcare.
Life is good. Life is great.